This is my last register, so I'm actually going to add my cover, which is, where did I put it? Which is still wet because I'm doing all of this back to back. So I'm just going to do this so I can go ahead and finish this for you, show you how to do it. Okay, so it just came up. I'm going to differentiate this for you so you can see what's happening on the camera. Okay, so the checkered is the inside of my back cover, okay? So I have my back cover and I am outside of my last register. I just looped around like I had been between the previous two, registers 1 and 2 in my case, and then between the new register I'm adding and the old one. And normally what I've been doing is I would have gone back inside the same register, but I want to add my cover now. So I'm going to go from the inside out to the outside of my back cover. Kind of messed up my hole there. There it is. Wrap around, go between the cover and that register. Try and pull it tight and keep that cross, that knot, close to the holes. Then I'm going to go between the last two registers. So I went between the register and the cover, and now I'm going between the two registers. Now I'm going back into my last hole of my last register. Out from the inside out to the next hole. This is the one with this loop where I messed up. Tried to ignore that. From the inside out of the cover. Outside, then around between the two registers. This is where it gets hard. So you may actually need to open up between those two registers. Pull your needle. I'm stuck on the cover. Pull your needle up and then push it back out, but right there to get around that. And then put the needle back into the register. I'm really sorry that loop is there. It's getting really confusing. Next hole to the outside. Inside out of the cover. Around between the cover and register. Between the last two registers. and then back into the register. All right, I don't have enough string to finish. That's okay. I'm going to simply take another piece of yarn, and no, I'm not going to tie it together. I am going to make a knot around this. Cut that shorter and just tuck that tail underneath it. And then I'm going to start with my new piece. So I'm going to make a new double knot. Trim that tail some. Thread my needle. I don't need this much string. And start back at the next hole that I was doing. So inside out of the register, inside out of the cover, between the cover and that register, around this thread right there, I have that loop, and then between these two registers. So I'm just gonna drop my needle right there where I need it to go, open it up, and then push back out on the other side of that string that I'm trying to wrap it around. Oops, I just caught another piece of my yarn. I went through it, I split it. Be careful not to do that. And back into that register. Next hole. Inside out of the cover, around between the registers, back into the last register. Out through the last hole. Almost done. Inside out of the cover. Wrap around between the cover and register. Wrap around between the last two registers. Back into the hole. Try and pull that all tight. So now our needle is inside this last register. I'm just going to tie a knot around this last stitch here. And pull it tight. I'm going to go ahead and tie 2. And then you can either cut this and tuck it behind, or you can leave it long. So you can use it as a kind of bookmark. And although this is too long, I'm gonna trim that. Ta-da. And now I have a very unique, one-of-a-kind sketchbook. That also opens up perfectly flat, which is nice. So I can do one big drawing all the way across here pretty easily. Take your time, make sure that your thread doesn't get tangled, that it gets pulled tight each time so you don't get awkward loops, and because you want it bound as tight as you can. Yours are going to be a little bit thicker than mine, so it should be actually be a little bit easier for you. It's hard to do it on a book this thin, I think. And that's how you make a sketchbook with the Coptic stitch.